Okay. It did indicate that some people would be removed from the meeting, so the recording has started.
Okay. Okay. It looks like we're at the same number of people that were here before you started, so I think we're okay. All right, thank you. So it is, let's see, 2:05 p.m. On Wednesday, May 14th, 2025, Towing Task Force meeting. We'll go ahead and start with our roll call. Okay, so we'll start with John Connolly. Haven't seen him yet. Captain Hahn.
Good afternoon, here.
Thank you. Ms. Henson. Oh, I see you. You're muted, but I see you. Okay, thank you.
There, now I have volume.
There you go. Thanks. Jim Howes. I haven't seen him yet. Mike Padilla. Haven't seen him yet either. Dr. Pierce. Not yet. Officer Prunski.
I'm here.
Thank you, sir. Jeffrey Reister. Haven't seen him yet. Nathan Riley, that's myself. I am present. Joyanne Rusha. Not yet. Edward Schoenheit. Not yet. And Seth Thomas. Okay. All right. So we'll go ahead and start working our way through our agenda. We'll go ahead and skip item number 2, approval of minutes, because we're a little short on quorum. We'll go ahead and move into administrative items. So we have a handful of things to mention. So the remaining meetings that we have scheduled for this year, next one will be on August 13th, and then also on October 9th. Both of those will be same time period, 2 to 3:30 p.m. We did, since our last meeting, which was in February, we did receive another resignation. That was from Charles/Brandon Rich. He was our representative for consumers of towing services and also private property owners. So we're currently recruiting for that position, as well as our other vacant position, which is one of the 2 for the people representing disproportionately affected communities for non-consensual towing. So just want to give everybody a heads up on that. Moving on to, we've had some website updates. I just wanted to give everyone a heads up. It's part of a larger initiative that's kind of part of a bigger department exercise that we're doing when it comes to the websites that all the different divisions in our department are putting out there. For the PUC, I think we started with the transportation websites. We've been getting a lot of help from our communications director up at the executive director's office. Katie O'Donnell, just want to give her a shout out for all the hard work she's been doing with us to do that. But just wanted to give you a heads up because part of those changes include changes to our webpage for the Towing Task Force. So it's a little different now than you're probably used to. It's been reconfigured. Some of the recordings of our meetings, for example, have been moved off of links just available through the website to the PUC's YouTube channel. You can still access it through the webpage, but it takes you to a different place so you can view those recordings. So just wanted to let everybody know that. Again, this is part of a larger accessibility / rebranding that the PUC is doing to our various web pages. So it does affect the Towing Task Force because our web page is included in those changes. Moving on to cybersecurity training. Y'all should have gotten emails from Hadija on that back on March 12th and then again on April 24th. Again, it's been switched to smaller, more monthly modules instead of larger ones. So yeah, please do those within 30 days of the email receipt that those have been assigned to you. I've taken these types of trainings before. They are pretty straightforward and simple to do and cover basic cybersecurity topics. I think at this point, we have, excuse me, our Deputy Executive Director of our department, Jenny Brown, available, as well as Bindu, who works with our different boards and commissions. Do either or both of you have any comments at this time?
Thanks, Nate. And thanks for having us. And I do want to just sincerely thank everybody on the Towing Task Force for your time and your efforts going forward. I've been working with Nate since the inception of this task force. So I know you guys do a lot of hard work and it's voluntary. So we really, really appreciate it. And just, to follow up with what Nate was saying, Bindu and I do oversee all of the boards and commissions under the principal Department of Regulatory Agencies. And as part of that, we have an onboarding process that ideally all of you would have been exposed to prior to starting participating on the task force. And part of that onboarding does include feedback from the Attorney General's office. And then it also includes information about requirements that DORA has, which as part of this discussion, it is having a state email. And I do just want to reiterate that the reason for that is, number one, keeping the information that we share with you safe and secure. And number two, in the event that this task force or the PUC would get a CORA and you guys had information, say in email exchanges that we had shared with you, we would need to go through those emails. We prefer not to go through your personal or your professional emails, which is another reason why we have those state email addresses. And Bindu is going to take you through the operations of the cybersecurity, which is one of the requirements that every state employee has to have, but it's also a requirement for everyone that has a state email address. And on OIT's behalf, unfortunately, apparently they had an audit like last year and we're doing horrible as far as getting compliance with regards to cybersecurity training. So that's one of the reasons why Bindu and I have been super on top of this and pretty aggressive, because we're just trying to make sure that we can keep OIT in compliance, keep you safe, keep your information safe, and then just figure out how we can help you along the way. And Nate, before we close off, I just wanted to flag that our sunset page, I just wanted to let everybody know that the Public Utilities Commission is undergoing sunset. And we are interested in getting feedback from everybody for that. So as Bindu goes through this, I can take that, put the link in the chat, because you can provide written comments and all that. The towing part is not a part of the sunset just because of the recent legislation that we had, but there's many other aspects. And actually there's, 20 other sunsets with regards to the department that you might be interested in commenting on. So that's all I had.
Okay. Thanks, Ginny. Are you able to hear me? Okay.
Yes, we can. Thank
Good.
you.
I just want to make sure because my headset is not working today. It's not cooperating. Hi, everyone. My name is Bindu Miriala. I am Boards and Commissions Coordinator. As Nate mentioned and Ginny mentioned, these days we are having so many, kind of cyber attacks. We are going through, every day I'm listening from my friends also, hey, don't use this page or don't use WhatsApp. So many complaints. So our OIT department, they came up with the new plans on the cybersecurity. So they were saying that last few years, they assigned all the courses at once and we have that privilege, but now every month is changing these cyber attacks. So they are planning to give the courses based on month. They can change in the December if they got the new information or new cyber attack. They are changing based on those attacks. So every month you will receive a course, and these courses, they will cover a key cybersecurity topic, and it will include a short assessment to reinforce learning. So it will be the monthly training modules will be like as each module, it will cover only 3 to 4 or 5 minutes or 6 minutes. Some of them are 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes long, but you will feel that is safe and you got a lot of information. And after you are completing listening that course, the course module, you will get a brief assessment of like 2 to 3 questions. So you just have to fill those questions. They are very easy also. So this kind of monthly training you will get, and that will enhance the cybersecurity awareness, and we will be in the compliance, as Ginny mentioned so many times, with the state policies and everything. They have changed this year a lot on the cybersecurity. And the third point is on the acceptable use policy acknowledgement. So you will receive 12 courses, right? On top of it, you have to complete this AUP course as well, because it will outline acceptable technology uses and the security protocols for all individuals with the state systems, whoever has the working with the state email ID. So this is also an important course. So you have to complete like as a 13 courses for this year. And then coming back to the cybersecurity training and login access questions, I have kept like here a document. So if you click on that link, it will take you to the document. I sent this document details also to Hadija. I think she shared all this information with you all as well. In this one, say for example, you are a new member, you haven't done last year, or you haven't registered anything in this account, then you can go to this link and click on this link. So this is a self-registration page. This is the SOC Learns website, where you have to create your account to get into the website and to see your courses. So you have to fill all this information. Here I want to clarify one more thing. First name, last name, your state email address, and then coming back to the division. Under this division, you can find DORA in the second page. There is a Department of Regulatory Agencies, IS. This one you have to click. And then state agency manager, you can fill my name too, because I'm taking care of the cybersecurity, and you can fill my email here, and contract date and estimated contract length also you can give like a 24 months, for example, and position type is a contractor. You can select here in the drop down. So if you fill this one, you can give a password, then you are going to set up your account, and so after completing the account setup, you will receive the courses the next day. The OIT will assign you the courses from the next day. You have to give 24 hours of time for them to assign you courses. So this is a very easy steps if you follow here. If you have your state email account active, so you can check the document as well. I have linked here. And this SOC Learns, you need to use only your state email, not the personal email. So if your state email is not active, you please reach out to me. I can work with OIT and I can provide you the new password and new Google access and everything, So once your Gmail is active, then you can go to the SOC Learns website and create accounts, and it will take you to the SOC Learns courses. So this year, the cybersecurity expectations the OIT mentioned is each assigned training must be completed within the 30 days of the receiving the email notification. And then after that, they will send you reminder emails. Even I am also sending the reminder emails, because they mentioned that we have to complete these courses within the 30 days of the assignments, And one more thing is, like, they started assigning courses from at once from April. For example, January 1 and February and March and AUP, and April is there, and May course is also assigned. So they started 4 courses they assigned in the month of April. So you will be seeing like 5 and 6 courses, Jan, March, April, May, and AUP. So you will have 6 courses now in your account. And also they clearly mentioned the non-compliance actions they are going to take. If you are not completing the courses within the given time frame or something, board or commission members who are failing to complete training may face restrictions on their access to state systems and cannot fulfill their work obligations. So those kind of instructions we got from the OIT. So that is why we are coming to the meetings and we are explaining to everybody, hey, this is a simple one. If you get into any login issues or if you want any help, I can come into the call. We can set up a call. We can clear everything, login issues, and you can happily do the cybersecurity courses. Any questions? Okay, I think I have explained very clearly. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, Nate.
Awesome. Thank you for that explanation, Bindu. Really appreciate it. And Director Brown as well for being here and for talking to us about some of these issues. Was there anything else either of you wanted to share? Okay. Well, thank you for being here. We appreciate your comments. Feel free to stick around if you like, or if you want to dip out, that's fine too.
Thank you.
Thank you both. All right, moving along within our administrative updates, we just have a few more. The annual compliance affidavits. So again, we did our annual training back in our first meeting on February 27th, where we talk about the department itself that this towing task force is housed under, as well as the PUC, which kind of oversees and administrates this task force. And then also some legal requirements, which Ms. Grooms was happy to walk us through, including, ex parte communications, KORA, open meetings laws, et cetera. But what goes along with that training is that affidavit. So I believe Hadija has been circulating that. And again, the recording with that training is on the YouTube channel. Again, you can still access it through the website, even though it's been reconfigured. There's still the link there to get access to those meetings. So, but yeah, if you could please fill those out once you've gone through that training, if you haven't already, then we'd appreciate that because we are required to submit those to the department. And then finally, I think Hadija had some comments in regards to emails. As you all know, she kind of manages all the communications and the meeting schedulings and various other interactions with all the various members. So Hadija, did you have some comments?
Yes, I do. So hi, everyone. I just wanted to address a reoccurring issue that's affecting the efficiency of this task force. I've sent out multiple important emails regarding the group project coordination, the compliance affidavit that must be signed, as Nate indicated, and upcoming meeting invitations. Many of these messages that I sent have gone unanswered. This lack of response causes unnecessary delays, complicates planning, and jeopardizes our ability to stay in compliance. Responding to official emails is not optional. It's a basic responsibility of participating in this task force. I also want to empathize that the meeting invites for all upcoming quarterly meetings have been already created and sent well in advance. There's no reason why I shouldn't receive confirmation on your attendance. If you're unable to attend, I expect you to inform me ahead of time and indicate who will be representing you. Communication is a shared responsibility. I need everyone to be more proactive, check your emails regularly, respond in a timely manner, and stay accountable. This is the only way we can keep things running smoothly and fulfill our duties as TTF members. Thank you.
All right, I appreciate those comments, Hadija, and I agree completely with her statements. Again, we work hard, and Hadija especially works very hard to keep this group running, as she said, efficiently, and making sure we know who's attending what meetings, and there's a variety of other emails that she sends out regarding the compliance affidavit, for example, or the cybersecurity trainings, as well as some other things. So circulating minutes beforehand, before meetings, and agendas, so everybody knows what's coming up in upcoming meetings. So I know she works really hard for that. So yeah, staying communicative with her and engaging with those emails and invites to meetings and all of that really helps us out on our end to manage this group from the PUC's perspective. So definitely appreciate her comments and yeah, just consider that, when we're sending out these communications. We definitely appreciate your responsiveness. Okay, moving along. So I think that covers our administrative items, which is item 3 on the agenda. Moving to item 4 on the agenda is our PUC director comments. I don't think she's in attendance today. It's been a pretty busy day here around the office. This is one of our big monthly in-office days for our entire staff, and there's a lot going on. So she may just have gotten caught up with other priorities. But I know she does put a big priority on this task force and likes to be present and likes to meet with us and share her thoughts and comments about what's going on with towing regulation and the value of this group. So we'll look forward to probably seeing her at our next meeting. Moving on to number 5 on the agenda is our PUC Public Information Officer, Megan Castle. I think she might have a brief update for us that she kind of to continue some of the comments she made in our last meeting. Megan?
Hello. Let's see, it looks like there's someone who wants to join. Okay. Hi, everybody. I wanted to give a quick update. I wanted to thank everybody for their feedback last month or last meeting regarding getting posters with FAQs and out to you as operators. We are in the design process of that, and I expect to have those posters available to share out soon. It should be before the next meeting, but if not, if I don't send it out by then I'll have a full update at the next one. But I just wanted to thank everybody for that information, and we will make sure that you have those to make available to the public in your office. If there's any questions, you can let me know, but thank you very much.
Thanks, Megan. And I also want to give Megan credit as well. She's been working very hard on some of the website updates that I mentioned earlier. Again, it's a larger department initiative, and it's plugging into all of our different divisions, including the PUC. So she's put a lot of work into that as well, along with Katie O'Donnell. They're the tag team that have been spearheading that entire process. And we at the PUC, especially within the transportation group, we're all very appreciative of the work they've put in. And of course, we've helped as well, but they're definitely leading the charge in updating our websites and making them more industry friendly, making them more consumer friendly. And again, just kind of streamlining that into the whole package that hopefully is a good online resource for the people who want to engage with us. So definitely appreciate her help.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Right. Thank you. Okay, moving on to agenda item number 6, PUC updates, rulemakings and data collection. So I do have an update on that. Again, when they passed House Bill 24-1051 last year, we initiated a rulemaking in September, so just a few months after those statutes triggered, and that was proceeding number 24R0382TO. And again, it largely implemented that legislation, House Bill 24-1051. The rules officially were adopted and became effective on April 14th, so just within the past, it was actually a month ago today. So those are our new rules, new updated rules, and they are effective. Again, as I've mentioned in previous meetings, it does include a data collection aspect, which is tied to a permit contingency. So basically, in order to get and or renew a active towing permit, they would need to engage in this data collection aspect as well. So kind of the way we are moving forward with it is that the types of things we'll be collecting pursuant to the newly constructed rules are 1, the number of tow trucks a towing carrier is operating, 2, the volume of tows they are conducting on an annual basis by category, so broken out into consensual, non-consensual, law enforcement, and then 3, consensual tow pricing, if applicable. So if we have carriers that are engaging in consensual towing, they would need to essentially just provide us with their current rates for those services. And then 4, any other information determined by the PUC, which is kind of like a catch-all. for us to use in case, we're plugging along and we want to add a new data metric that we think is necessary. We can go ahead and add that in on top. So again, the rules that were adopted and became effective back a month ago does include that provision. So that is now an active requirement. Now, the way we set it up and kind of to ease people into it, since it is a new concept, is the first data set is due by February 1st of each year. So that means this coming February of 2026 will be the first time it's required to be reported. But we did also construct the rule to make that deadline a little flexible in case things come up or there's extenuating circumstances. We can adjust to that, but that's the expectation, is that data will be submitted February 1st of each year, regardless of when the towing carrier is actually renewing their permit. And obviously new carriers coming in, that's another aspect to consider. But so again, as I've shared in earlier meetings, I think the towing task force should likely have access to this information once it starts being submitted and aggregated and to be used for policy determination purposes. And again, we probably won't see anything for probably another 9 months, if I had to guess, somewhere around there. But that will be coming, and so we will have access to that, which I think will be really helpful to us as we navigate some of the ideas and things that we discuss. So yeah, we'll look forward to that next year. Moving on to agenda item number 7. And as I'm going through here, if anybody wants to jump in with any additional comments or questions, feel free to do that at any time. And not just for this meeting, but for all our meetings. I like kind of more of a conversational approach, but as we kind of work through the agenda, I don't mind just sharing all the details and giving you all updates. But anyway, so item number 7 on the agenda is Senate Bill 25-175. So again, that is our towing task force sunset renewal bill. And it did pass the Senate on March 31st. The only amendment they added to the original version was they added an additional 10-year sunset. The initial introduced version actually just had the towing task force continuing in perpetuity because there was no end date essentially. But they did add an amendment in there that gave it a 10-year sunset. So I think it extended to 2035, if I recall. So it passed the Senate with that amendment, and then it subsequently passed the House on April 25th with no amendments. So at present, that bill has totally passed both chambers, and we're currently just waiting to see if the governor signs it. So if it is signed or the bill becomes law by default, absent a veto, then yeah, this group will continue for another 10 years at least. So yeah, just wanted to share that, the status of that. All right, moving on to agenda item number 8, which is our work group discussion. So in our previous meeting back in February, we had kind of split up the task force into various subgroups, each of which was essentially assigned a topic or a concept. And again, just as a reminder to everybody of what those are, that is the first one is I don't know if we want to call it group 1, group 2, group 3. Group 1 is PUC approved rates and categories and other state regulations. And again, that group includes Captain John Hahn, Dr. Michael Pierce, Attorney General Jeffrey Reister, and myself. Group 2 is the annual inflation adjustments. So both the review of the mechanism itself within PUC rules, but also any potential alternatives to the current metric used, which is the Consumer Protection Index, the CPI. And that group includes Jennifer Henson, Jim Howes, Officer Greg Prunsky, and Joyanne Rusha. And then group 3 is assigned the consensual and non-consensual tow rates. And that group is John Conley, Mike Padilla, Edward Schoenheit, Seth Thomas, and also included Brandon Rich. But again, as I mentioned earlier, we received his resignation between the last meeting and now. So we removed him from that group. But anyway, these are the three groups that to pursue these different initiatives, kind of in whatever way they see fit. As discussed in the last meeting, we had Hadija put together and circulate some kind of jumpstart emails, if you want to call them that, for each respective work group. So the emails included ideas and concepts, certain materials and documentation to be used. And then we also offered to potentially schedule some side meetings for each respective group if they thought that was necessary. But of course, independent research is always welcome, and people can kind of pursue this stuff on their own, independent of the other group members if they choose to do that. But yeah, that's kind of what we've done between the last meeting and now is send out and circulate those emails. I think the initial emails were sent out in March, and then I think we sent out another. I think you just sent out another email. Oh, I want to say maybe it was in April. But yeah, those materials have been circulated, I think, 2 times at this point. So feel free to go ahead and pursue that in whatever way you see fit. Just in regards to at least the group that I'm part of, I do have some stuff to share. Let me pull it up here. Give me 1 second. So again, for group 1, it has to do with the exploration of the PUC approved rate categories. So that's just kind of looking at what the PUC allows for. So the different categories of rates that are approved and are allowed for the different types of tows. So I think mostly we should be focusing on non-consensual tows because that's kind of our purpose. But I think we can at least discuss the other categories as well if we want. But it essentially boils down to what the current rates are, which are essentially for a non-consensual tow, it would be what we call a hook fee or a base rate is what it's called in the rules, which is essentially the all-encompassing charge for the tow itself. So again, it includes, responding to the scene and any equipment necessary, either as part of the tow truck or, attached to the tow truck to tow the vehicles themselves. And any other kind of intangibles associated with the tow process in hooking up the vehicle and transporting it back to their facility for storage. There's also a mileage charge, which includes kind of a attached fuel surcharge based on diesel prices. We also have obviously our storage fees, which are broken out into 24-hour periods. We have the after-hours release fee. Of course, statutory notification, I don't think we can do anything about that because it's in statute. We can't really avoid that. So that's always, I think, going to be a category unless or until they change the statutes. And those are kind of some of those primary categories. So again, exploring those and seeing kind of what people in our group think about them, if we should adjust them in some way or if certain categories aren't necessary. That I think is kind of where that part comes from. As it pertains to other state regulations, I've done some research in the past that involves states that I think are somewhat similar to our level of regulation for towing carriers that we have here in Colorado. And I have some notes from conversations I've had with some of these other state officials that I just wanted to share just so everybody is aware. So in Arkansas, for example, they don't have caps on their rates, except for with law enforcement ordered tows. And again, that's going to be based on the specific contracts that the towing carriers have with law enforcement, and seems to be based largely on agency preference. So the law enforcement agency is essentially setting the rates that the towing carriers can use for law enforcement ordered tows. Again, I think they're still in the process of exploring whether or not they want to put any other kind of fee limitations in statute, kind of like what we have here where it delegates that to the commission to set those rates. But yeah, that's something that I had a note on in Arkansas. Moving on to Georgia. So Georgia, sorry, one other thing I wanted to mention is who the primary regulators of towing services are in these different states. So in Arkansas, it's pretty much the Arkansas, what they call the Arkansas Towing and Recovery Board. So that's where I got this information. Moving on to Georgia, most towing services are regulated by the Georgia Department of Public Safety, so they're DPS. And when it comes to different rates for different types of tows, so consensual versus non-consensual versus law enforcement, non-consensual in Georgia is really the only thing that appears to be regulated as a tow category. So there is no restrictions for the other tow categories, so like consensual or law enforcement. But there are some set rates that they've shared with us. So for I guess what we would consider to be a hook fee here in Colorado, what they have that set at for a 10,000 GVW or less vehicle in Georgia is $175. With it escalating to $300 between the 10,001 to 20,000 GVWR range, $450 for the 20,001 pounds plus, and then it scales all the way up to $850 for an in combination tractor trailer, which I thought was interesting. So they kind of scale it with the size of the towed vehicle, similar to how we do it here, which I think is interesting. Moving on to Illinois, so they have, I think most of what they have regulatory wise is through the Illinois Commerce Commission, so the ICC out there, and they do regulate prices for non-consensual towing, and it seems like that's the only category where it regulates the rates. They indicated that the rate setting process is typically done by analyzing the 3 highest police ordered tows and setting kind of an across the board rate for non-consensual towing. So they're essentially pairing the rates with what they see in some of the other categories. But individual towing companies can still file a petition for a rate increase, which then goes before the commission, similar to the way the commission here does take petitions. So currently, or at least within the past year or so, the current rates were $216 to $238 for a light duty tow, which is up to 8,000 GVWR. $520 for what they call a medium duty, which is 8,001 to 26,000 GVWR. So it's a much bigger range than in Georgia. And then $700 for a heavy duty, which is 26,001 plus GVWR. They do also allow for storage, which is about $40 to $45 a day for light duty and $140 a day for both the medium and heavy duty categories. So that pairs pretty well, at least on the light duty side, to what we allow here in Colorado under the current metric. I think, hold on, let me tell you what our current rate is. Give me just one second. So our current rate for storage is less than 10,000 GVWR is $47.12 for a 24-hour period. And then at 10,000 GVWR or more, or rather 10,000, 10,000 or more is $58.13 per 24-hour period. So I think we pair pretty well with Illinois on the lower end. But on the higher end, they actually have a per day storage that's considerably more than ours. So I just wanted to make that distinction. They also allow for a $2.50 invoice fee, but there's no other fees allowed past that. So no after hours fees. As a towing carrier, they're expected to be open 24/7 if they're towing 24/7 is how they described it. So I just wanted to share that. And then I think I have one more, New Mexico. So New Mexico has a public regulation commission similar to what we have here with the PUC in Colorado. There are what they call New Mexico wrecker tariffs, NMWTs is what they call them. And the towing carriers essentially file those. So they're filing their rates for approval. But that only is for the non-consensual and the law enforcement ordered tows. Of all the different states I've talked to over the years, I don't think any state actually charges or has any rate regulation for consensual towing. At least I haven't heard of one. But both the non-consensual and law enforcement ordered tows they're both considered non-consensual by nature, which means the rates for both are pretty much the same. There are allowable charges for lots of different equipment that might be used for the tow. But they said the basic rate would start around $200 and go up from there, depending on the weight class of the towed vehicle. So I think the way they broke them out is the A, B, C, or D category. So A and B category are considered to be non-CMVs, whereas the C and D category are considered to be CMVs. So that kind of just indicates the size and scope of these vehicles. And I guess there are also some consideration for larger transport carriers, such as, dealership or vehicle haulers, which may include some higher rates. So I just wanted to share some of those tidbits from some of these other states. Again, we'll continue to do some research and reach out to some of these other regulatory agencies monitoring towing in other states and kind of see where they land. But I think this is at least a good jumping off point to kind of see how comparable we are to other states. And I think for the most part we are. I'm not seeing any major changes with the exception of the storage of larger vehicles in Illinois. That was the biggest difference I saw between our rates and what we're seeing in some of these other states. But we'll continue to do some research and see what else we can find out, and again, kind of just see where we are on the spectrum, or maybe they do something in some of these other states that make it a little more intuitive on how they decide how to set their rates. Maybe the process is a little cleaner than what we do here in Colorado, or, we're always open to suggestions, obviously. So, exploring what other states are doing, I think could be helpful for our purposes here. All right. So those were the updates that I had. I wasn't sure if anybody else in group one had any other thoughts on those particular topics. If so, feel free to jump in. Okay. All right. Do we have anybody from groups 2 or 3 that have anything they'd like to share? Maybe something you've thought about, since our last meeting, or, again, with some of those kind of jumpstart emails that Hadija has circulated, maybe it spurred a thought or an idea of how to pursue some of these ideas, or maybe you've already started to look into some of these concepts. Anything anybody has to share would be welcome. Officer Prunski, please.
I appreciate that. No, I was kind of curious. It's more of kind of a general question on it. I fortunately haven't had any time to look into it yet and start doing any research. Went down for surgery in March and then had my second daughter here May 1st. So been a little busy. But I was just kind of curious, do we have any goals, or is there another report that we got coming up that's due with all this research, or?
Yeah, we had kind of talked about that a little bit in the February meeting about, what kind of, I guess, our goal was to maybe put together another report. I do think we'll be helped quite a bit in some of the things we've talked about over the years with the aggregation of some of that tow data that I mentioned that we're going to be getting here starting early next year. So that I think will help us out a lot. But I think that's kind of one of the reasons we wanted to develop these topics. Is because any insight or any additional research or pursuit of these going down these different ideas, I think would be helpful, and just kind of these different groups kind of having more direction towards these particular assigned topics would kind of streamline, so everybody isn't looking at everything. We can kind of narrow that a little bit to the different groups, and then they can of course circle back during our meetings, or whatever else way they think is appropriate to share kind of what they've discovered or new ideas they had, and share it with the larger group. I think is kind of what I imagine. But yeah, no, I don't know that we have any particular deadline right now for our next report, but ideally, I think we'd like to see something next year. I think would be a good goal to have. I don't know that we've set anything in stone, nor does the statute require us to set anything in stone, but I think we just want to try to hold ourselves accountable to what we want to accomplish. And again, I know that the commission is very receptive to this group. And I think demonstrated by the legislature in the passing of our sunset, they want us to continue working. They want us to continue, working together in our various roles, representing various constituencies to put our heads together and to come up with some ideas to then in turn share with the commission. And then, that we can see where it goes, policy wise from there.
Right. That makes sense. I just definitely, looking at it, it's nice to have that goal because I think, gosh, is it the third or fourth year into it since kind of restarted again?
Yeah, we started at the beginning of 2022. So we're kind of creeping almost at the halfway point of year 3 of being, I guess you could say, reconstituted, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
And we've had some turnover, which has been difficult because this is admittedly a hard group to recruit for. Just given the very narrow roles that we all play here in our discussions. But I think we're doing the best we can. I know I'm working hard. Hadij is working hard. And some of the members are very involved in wanting to, like you said, set goals and have that have something to look forward to. But yeah, this was kind of one of our attempts to I guess, kind of get people moving in the right direction by kind of splitting people up into these various groups with a more narrow focus, and then using these meetings as kind of a come together. Like, here's what we learned since the last meeting, or here's a a website that has data that I stumbled across that I wanted to share with everybody, or like what I just shared with some of the contacts I've had with other states. That's kind of what I imagined. And again, I think when we start getting that tow related data, so we can get a bigger scope of the towing industry starting next year, I think that'll help a lot as well.
Yeah, I agree. That data is going to be awesome getting, because I know how hard it was for us sending letters out and getting any sort of responses was rough. So,
well, and I think that's one of the reasons we were thankful to get that in the legislation from last year, is because, we sent out that survey back in 2022 to every licensed towing carrier at the time. Hundreds and hundreds of carriers, between 700 and 800 carriers we sent it to. And I think we got around 50 to 60-ish responses, so less than 10%. But the way this has been constructed now in the statutes and now in the towing rules is all of them have to respond. So it's like they won't get a permit if they don't respond. So that's kind of the way we've set it up. So we're essentially forcing responsiveness, which I think is helpful, because we should get a much larger and in-depth data set. Which that's one of the reasons I think it'll be a game changer for us to see that data and kind of get a broader scope of, just the overall towing industry, what's happening, what volume we're talking about, how the volume is spread out against the various categories of tows. I think all of that is helpful to us. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that data and using it for this purpose.
Yeah, that'll definitely be great.
Awesome. Any other thoughts, Officer Prunski?
I think that's it. I was just kind of curious on that side. Got to figure out the direction we're going.
Awesome. All right. Any other thoughts? I think we still have, unfortunately, we're still a little short on quorum. I think we have 1, 2, 3, 4. I think we got 5 members in here. We'd need 8 for quorum. So we're a couple short. And again, just to remind everybody, I know we keep saying this, but it really is important, and like Hadij said, we like to know ahead of time, what kind of how many people are going to be attending these meetings. We'd like to know that as much as possible beforehand. And again, we understand, people have other lives, and this is a voluntary group. We get all that. But at the same time, to actually conduct any official business, we do have to have quorum. And again, we do have that statutory mechanism. It's written right into our statute that covers this group, that you can defer to somebody else. If you have somebody else that you can have come on your behalf, if you can't attend for some reason, even if it's just a last minute thing that comes up, we really would like to have each person that's a member of the task force identify kind of a go-to handoff person, where if they can't attend, they can just pass it off to, whoever that other person is. Maybe it's somebody you work with, or, somebody who kind of fits that same role. that you're filling, being on the task force. I think just having attendance at this meeting, even if a few of them are subs coming in to cover for someone else, I think that would be immensely helpful so that we could actually, start making some official decisions. And again, if we want to solidify some of the goals, like you mentioned, Officer Pronsky, regarding reporting, I think that could be helpful. Yeah, Captain Hahn, please.
Hey, good afternoon. A couple things. I know I've sent somebody in my stead a couple of times, and I try to keep it as the same person. The question I have is, so anybody that we're sending in our stead, are they required to the same documents and attestations and the same policy requirements if it's going to be cybersecurity and all of the documents that we're accountable to? Do they also have to sign those and return those as well?
That's a good question. I wouldn't imagine so, because I think it's more of an appointed member responsibility.
Okay.
But I don't know, Ms. Grooms, did you want to weigh in on that? I'm not sure, at least from I guess, annual complaint. I know most of this is department level stuff, but I wasn't sure if you just had any initial thoughts on it at least.
Could you repeat the question one more time? I apologize.
Yeah, it was just it had to do with I know I've sent somebody to these meetings on my behalf when I've been tied up. Is there the same requirement for them in terms of the annual training, the documents that we need to sign and return? Is that same requirement for the people that we send in our stead?
That is an interesting question. My initial response would be probably not, because it would ultimately fall back on you as
Okay.
being the member who appointed the person to stand in. Of course, that person can't vote on anything. We can't do proxy votes, but which, yeah, further supports my assumption that they probably wouldn't need to do all of the training.
That makes sense. It sometimes just popped into my head a few weeks ago. So no, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Of course.
Cool. Yeah, and I guess my thought is in the same vein as that, which is, yeah, they're not actually, and again, just given that our 4010.1403 statute does allow for people to attend meetings in the appointed member's stead, like it's a specific statutory flexibility that is offered in the language. It makes me think everything still falls back on the appointed member, and so that's just how I looked at it. But no, I appreciate that discussion. Did you have anything else, Captain Hahn?
Now, the other thing I had was just outside the scope of this group, but just wanted to thank you again, Mr. Riley. You're always, I think some public kudos and thanks is always appreciated. The number of times that I have had to reach out to you at various odd times. It always seems like it's late on a Friday where undoubtedly something towing related will come up, and I find myself scrambling for answers. And I just publicly wanted to extend you my thanks for always being quick to pick up the phone and answer my many questions. So thank you for that.
Sure, of course. Yeah, I think the last time you called me, you caught me on a little mini road trip between Denver and Ray, Colorado, which is not the most fun drive, but yeah, it was interesting, and I got to pull over. I wanted to focus on the call, so I pulled off on this little dirt farm road so we could talk. But yeah, no, I'm always happy to answer anybody's questions when it comes to towing regulation. Obviously, I can't talk to any of the members of this group on anything towing task force related, but yeah, I mean, I can answer other more general questions, of course, and I'm always happy to do so. So yeah, people call me all the time, and I don't mind taking those calls.
I appreciate it.
Thanks, Captain Hahn. I really appreciate the comments. Okay, so we can go ahead and move on from discussion item number 8, which was the work groups, and move on to actually just one last thing before we move on to the last 2 items on the agenda. So with the work groups, again, I would encourage everybody to look at those emails that Hadija has circulated when it comes to, again, those jumpstart or kickoff emails or whatever you want to call them. she put a lot of work into those emails and really tried to tee everything up for everybody, all the members that are participating in this group, and again, each respective group that people have been assigned to. So yeah, please read through those and think about it. And like I said, you can always circle back with her directly if you have any questions. And if you want, I guess, some further explanation on how that was put together, or just want to further discuss, that's definitely something that's available to you. But yeah, like I said, ideally, people can take that and kind of run with it, and then when we have these meetings, you can bring back some ideas or some thoughts, or maybe even some research, some stuff you maybe spend an hour doing on a random Tuesday, and then you come back, for our next meeting in August and share it with the whole group. I mean, when you stack those on top of each other, that can really be helpful, and kind of expands our reach a little bit on what everybody's privy to. So I think it's helpful, and I would just really encourage everybody to look at those emails, and really take it to heart and say, okay, how can I do my part? How can I add to this? What can I do in my appointed role to help out the group and bring information that they would find helpful or interesting, or maybe something that'll sway their opinion on a particular topic. That's all, that is good stuff in my opinion. So anyway, all right, so we'll go ahead and move on to so actually I'll skip to item 10, which is public comments. I don't think we had Hadija, do we have anybody sign up for today?
No, we did not.
Okay, thank you. We always have just so everybody knows, I think I've mentioned this before, but we do have a sign up group where we put on our website the notice for these meetings, which is what we're required by law to do it anyway. But we also add a little sign up sheet to there in case people want to join. Like, they don't have to sign up if they don't want to. They can just show up if they want. But it just kind of helps us streamline that. So we do put that out as part of every meeting notice, that's available for people to sign up if they want to observe, if they just want to submit a public comment of some kind. We're always very accommodating for that. So yeah, if anybody ever has interest, feel free to share that with them. And you can share Hadija's information if you can't comment on it directly and you just want to refer them over to us, we'll take care of it. And then our last item, item 9, is just open discussion. So anything and everything, whatever anybody wants to talk about, feel free to jump in now. And while we're waiting to see if anybody wants to discuss anything, Ms. Groom, did you have any updates or anything for us? I don't know that you did, but just in case there was anything on your mind.
No, I didn't have anything for today.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. Well, thanks everybody for being here. We do appreciate you being present and engaging with the meeting today. Again, our next meeting is scheduled for August 13th. That is a Wednesday. Another Wednesday. So, and again, it'll be at same time, 2 to 3:30 p.m. So yeah, our next one is August 13th, and then the following one is October 9th. So those are the next 2 meetings. Like I said, we'll probably send out some emails in between now and the next meeting scheduled for August 13th. But yeah, like I said, feel free to respond to any of the things that we mentioned here today. Again, appreciation to people from our executive director's office to come here and talk to us about some of the department requirements, like cybersecurity and, the annual compliance affidavits and stuff like that. So we appreciate them coming for that. But other than that, if there's nothing else, we'll go ahead and adjourn. It is 3:03 p.m. Thanks everybody for being here today, and have a nice summer. We'll see you in August. Thank you.
Thank you.